You ready to rock some stocks? Me too. Hey, I bet I got an audience today. How many of you are bored? How was your trading day? I bet not one of you lost a penny today. Honestly, folks, I wasn't just bored. I was lonely. I was missing you guys. I spend a lot of time on the internet with my fellow traders. Even though they're digital friendships, I still consider them connections that are important. I'm out there putting news out pre-market. Then I'm with my traders from bell to bell over at Penny Boys. Then I make you a video from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Then I put out aftermarket news. What do I do on a day off? I go into DTs. That's what I freaking do. So that's why we've got this video today. Now, I thought it was a blunder at first. Can everybody hear me? I got all my buttons pushed? Okay, we got to check. You know how I am. I did turn my volume up, so hopefully that's good for you as well. When I put up the announcement for this video, I came back and over an hour, nobody had dropped any tickers. I thought I had made a mistake. So in preparation for not having any tickers to talk about, but still having to do a show, I actually got some information together, some important and valuable information. I didn't want to waste your time if nobody was here, and I don't want to waste your time when you are here. So I do have a lot of tickers from you today. Holy cow, you guys gave me way more than I can get to, and I appreciate that because you're sharing amongst each other too. You're not just bringing them to me. Yeah, we would like to look at all of them, but unless you got we got 6 hours. Unless you've got all that time in the world, we do have to cut it somewhere. So I've got about 4 or 5 of them lined up, but I've got a few I want to share with you and some news. And I think this is all relevant. So before I jump into all of that, I want to say hi to you guys. Without you, I wouldn't be here. You're the only reason I'm here right now. Thank you. Appreciate you showing up. Yes, Belmore. We are going to get to SVMH. It was actually on Penny Boy's watch list. When I say that, I mean her chart came up. We were ready to play her. I don't know if we did any, but she was on our list. And yes, I was bored too. So I was ready to be here. I'm ready to give you everything I normally give you. Let's see here. Mark, I do want to talk about OPTT in 2 different directions, and I want to talk about OTLK. That's actually where we're going to start this off when we start to talk. So I'm going to cover those 2. MBS, out fishing. Can't think of a better thing to do today than maybe talk hot penny stocks while we're fishing. We are going to take a look at UMAV. We've looked at AITX a couple times. There has been a lot of conversation about AITX. She's starting to move a little bit on the charts. The big news as far as I'm concerned with AITX, they had promised not to do a reverse stock split up until January 2025. Well, if you've looked at their share count, billions of shares, that's what we're scared of. They get too close to a penny, you're just waiting for a reverse stock split. He has just amended that promise all the way to January of 2026. He promises no reverse stock splits. So if you want to average down, which I'm going to do because I'm holding it, and I was waiting. I mean, with January just around the corner, I did not want to average down. But I see some heat coming into the robotic sector, so I'm probably going to throw some more money into that one. So we're going to take a look at UMAV, and I presume your buybacks was the catalyst for this company. Isn't exactly buybacks, but you put me on the track of what I needed to look for. Mark, another Mark Ryan. Howdy. We're glad to have you, Mark. Mark, I didn't get ABSI. From you down, I haven't got any of these tickers. I just didn't run into enough space, but maybe we'll get to you. We'll see. Kashera, same thing. Cooler is doing well with their new product, that anti-vibration thing that they're working with. I think they just got a contract with the Army, so that's going to be bringing in a new stream of money. Baby Yoda, we appreciate you being here. No, we're not going to get to AEON or BHAT, but maybe some other people here know something about it. AXXA, sorry, oil shenanan. We won't get to that one either, but damn, do I appreciate you being here. Really do. Let's see. Mark Ryan, all the way down at the bottom. Dominic. Hello, Dominic. You brought in Jasper. We're not going to get to see it. All of these extra tickers from Syad. Kenny Killebrew. God, I appreciate y'all being here, but we are going to talk about OPTT right now. So let's jump on into this. I'll get rid of my comment here so I don't block any of the screen. Remember to change my windows. Got another one over here. Yes, you can see where I'm at. All right, first thing I want to do, come on up. I want to start with news in case you haven't been keeping up with this, folks, and you're still hot on quantum, get out. If you're not already out of quantum and you're wondering, why is it falling? This is why quantum is falling and probably not going to bounce back anytime soon. NVIDIA CEO says we will not have a practical, functional quantum computer for at least 20 years. 20 years? Folks, that is a serious long hold. So I can easily see a year from now, people thinking quantum's getting hot, and someone's going to say, remember what the CEO of NVIDIA said? This isn't a guy you take with a grain of salt. They're working with quantum like Microsoft and IBM and a lot of those smaller companies. If he tells you that we are 20 years away, I would get away from quantum. You know, if it bounces one day, fine, get in on technicals. But if you're looking to play it because it's hot right now, no, it ain't. It got a sucker punch to the gut, lost all its wind, fell the last couple of days, and I'm not expecting it to come back for a while. So keep that in mind when you're looking at all those quantum computer companies out there. All right, next thing I want to take a look at here. We are going to actually jump straight on over here to the charts and look at OTLK, OPTT from the chart standpoint. Both of these are companies I've covered here recently. When I say recently, I mean in the last 6 months. But I did cover both of them in the same video on December 4th. Now we're looking at 1 hour charts. These go back to December 10th, and I did the video on December 4th. So we're just a few days behind here. So as you can see, both of these stocks have been running, and it has been the last 2 days that they have been falling. Well, if you've been trading, you've noticed the market on a whole has been falling the last 2 days. Bad, really bad. Now, the first drop here, I attribute to the federal reports that came out at 10 in the morning. They had talked about joblessness, unemployment, and some other numbers. Those numbers had effect, obviously, and the whole market fell. Then it fell again yesterday. Maybe it's falling on the same dark catalyst. I can't pinpoint why it fell, but I don't think either of these falls or most of the market has anything to do with the companies. The companies haven't had any changes in 2 days. This is all market sentiment. So we got to get out of this wherever we're at, this quagmire, and start coming back up. We're looking for a whole bounce back on the market. Now, just a quick overview. OTLK, she is a biotech. She's got a drug, don't remember the name of it. Let's just call it L. L was going through a 12-week phase 3 FDA trial here in America. At week 8, news came out that it didn't quite meet its endpoint result. I don't know what happened week 1 through 7. We haven't heard what happened after that. It finished. It's done now. It was only a 12-week trial. Well, it didn't meet its endpoint. So this stock took a serious fall back here, further back. Let me see if I go back 4 hours. You should be able to see that right there. She took a drop from about $5 all the way down to 86 cents. I looked at the news that day and I said, this is an overkill. It was 1 week. It still was doing good and it wasn't over yet. And they were going to resubmit that trial in January. But the catalyst is that same exact drug, L, is already approved for commercialization and sell over in the UK and Germany. And they were launching it this month. So back here, I said this is going to recover at least back up to here, back up to the $5. And at that point, when this news came out, a bunch of big analysts came out and said, and I mean big analysts, came out and gave price targets of $19, $30, $60, $100, because the company's been research and development, spending money, not making a penny. Now they got a drug that's going to bring in money. That is a huge change for a biotech. So it was getting big price targets. So I'm figuring not only should we hit $5 as my first target, but we should get past that as well. So that's what we've been waiting for. And really, you need to have this 200 get close to the price before you can get a breakout. The price is a monkey. It needs bars and limbs to climb up. If there's nothing above it, it has a hard time climbing. So it starts acting like a kangaroo. That's the way I see it. When it gets on top of everything, then it has to bounce on top of these MAs. It's not climbing anymore. And if it gets too far above an MA, it has to come back down. You got to expect it. So I'm watching for this 200 to get closer to the price on the 4 hour. As you can see on the 1 hour, that's the 1 day, pardon me. On the 1 hour, we are already over it and she was breaking out. So I was expecting to climb towards the 200 on the 4 hours. So OTLK, I think, is still a promising stock. We just got to get out of this market sentiment. OPTT. This is a company I was actually talking about the other day with a friend. Matter of fact, I think it was yesterday. I'm going to dive over here because this company is a company I believe is good for a long hold. We were talking about companies that we thought would be good long holds over at Penny Boys last night. We like to talk about all sorts of things. And I said OPTT to me looks like a great long hold, like Netflix. When Netflix came out back in 2002, I believe it was $15 a share. Now, nobody had ever heard of live streaming. We didn't know what that was, streaming. But if you had vision, if you could think outside of the box and see something that didn't exist yet, you could have gotten in 100 shares, just 100 shares, and held that for 20 years. Been patient. There's a lot of people who are 20, 30 years old that are looking towards retirement. They're looking for stocks that are going to be giants in the future. Well, Netflix now is close to $900. 100 shares would have gotten you $875,000 right now if you'd have just been patient with it. You don't watch it every day. You don't freak out when it drops. You're holding it for the long haul. So you just let it brew on the back part of your property. Well, I believe OPTT is one of these companies. First off, what has me most excited, they have no competitors. I have not found a private company or a public company that does what they do. And they are dealing with the ocean, which is on the entire world. That is one heck of a large domain. And they're dealing with a product that I think is infinitely useful to countries. These are powered buoys that can be a mile off the coast or 100 miles out in the middle of the ocean. They generate their own power. They can do it through wind, solar, or a wave generator, something that just gets beat up on the bottom and actually creates power. And they put all that power to use for all sorts of communication. I mean, every kind there probably is. Wi-Fi, 4G, 5G, probably 6G, satellite communication. They can talk to ships, planes, ground, submarines. This thing has AI on it, so it can monitor a lot of different things. This boat you see in the picture here, this is an autonomous boat that is being controlled by the computer that's on this power buoy. It relays information that it gets, whether it's doing some sort of ecological work or it's doing security work, survey. This relays information to the buoy, which relays information back. When it runs out of power, it's been programmed to connect itself to the buoy and recharge itself and go right back to what it's doing. Now, I can see this being very popular for security purposes. I hate to talk about it, but this is the world we live in. I can easily see these boats getting guns on them. Absolutely. And you just put up a curtain on your water so nobody can come through, not without somebody knowing or something happening. So I can see this being a very, very hot product down the road when there are no competitors. Now, when we were talking about long-term stocks, we also brought up DRCR. Now, DRCR is a pink, and I have told everybody in all my videos, do not invest in pinks. What I mean by invest is not a long hold. You want to trade a pink for a day trade, a swing trade, great. Get in, get out, take your money. I don't trust pinks. I've lost tens of thousands of dollars on them because there's no validated information. You get no filings. You get no audited financials. You have no evidence for anything. all you get are press releases, which is primarily hype, hearsay at best. You don't have anything to prove anything's happened until it actually happens. And as a new investor, I was investing on that hype and I was getting my butt beat over and over again. So I like this company so much that I want to invest in it, but not as a pink. I covered DRCR over 2 years ago with 2 or 3 other gambling companies. That's what this company does. They run casinos and gambling operations, brick and mortar, but primarily online. But they came out with a very particular product, and it was in the beta stages back then, called Swiftly. Swiftly is a lot like Tinder. It is a swipe left, swipe right. It is an AI program for live sports betting. When an event is happening, the AI will bring up bets. Will this be a completed pass or an incompleted pass? Will they get a first down? And they're fast bets. You've got to make a decision in a certain amount of time. $5 bet, $10 bet, they're small. And you swipe right for yes, left for no. Impulse betting. Well, when I saw that product, I said, folks, impulse betting with gamblers? Oh my God, a flame to gasoline. I said, this is going to be hot. Well, they weren't making a penny back then. Well, it's been 2 years and money is exploding out of this company right now. When we look at the financials for the company, back in 2020, they were at $27,000. We got to add 3 zeros to any of the numbers. Jumped to $139,000 in 2021. Look at this. $25 million in 2022. $128 million in 2023. That's some serious growth here. Now, this company has got, let's see if I can find it. Where is it? Yeah, okay, here. I wanted to give you some information about this company because they do have licenses around the world for their gambling casinos. You have to apply and get permission. And some of these licenses cover a large area. In the United States, they are also trying to get in over here, but it's a little trickier over here. It was just about within the last 10 years, our federal government repealed the law that made gambling on sporting events illegal. We've been doing it forever, but it's been illegal forever. Well, it was federally illegal. It's against the Constitution, believe it or not. So they passed that law down to every state. Every state makes the choice if they want to have sports gambling. And each state can decide if it's going to be online, brick and mortar, or both, or none at all. It's completely up to them. So you've got 50 jurisdictions you got to work with in the United States, and each one is pretty small. There's a lot of licenses out there in the rest of the world that are a lot bigger than that. Swiftly is led by British CEO and technology entrepreneur James Gibson. Swiftly's technology is scalable and GLI certified and holds gaming licenses in the UK, Ireland, South Africa, Curaçao, and is expected to obtain gaming licenses in Malta in the near future. Swiftly's in-house development team has developed GLI certified software for the sports gaming sector. This acquisition will enable signing day, and we're going to talk about that. They're going through a merger right now, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. This company is on the pinks. I'm not investing in them until they get off the pinks, at least to the QB. Well, they just put out news they're merging with a company on the New York Stock Exchange. And the company on the New York Stock Exchange is only making about $200,000 a quarter. And this company is making millions and millions of dollars now. So now I'm interested in the company. In addition to its software as a service-based gaming software, which Swiftly offers to online gaming operators under revenue sharing model, Swiftly also serves its own licensed clients with online sports betting and casino gaming in limited number of jurisdictions. Swiftly, which is debt-free, achieved revenue of over $128 million and net profit of approximately $2.4 million in the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2023. Despite significant investments of nearly $3.1 million in software development and licensing. Swiftly's growth strategy is built on 3 key pillars: consumer-focused online sportsbook and casino operations, software as a service gaming software licensing, and the acquisition of smaller operators, which will be migrated into Swiftly's proprietary software. So jumping on over to the news, they told us back here in April that they were considering getting onto the New York Stock Exchange through a reverse merger. So we did have a heads up on this a long time ago. Then in September, Dear Cashmere, which is actually what they call this company, the worst name in the world, Dear Cashmere, aka Swiftly Global, signs binding letter of intent to be acquired by Signing Day Sports. And then they have just launched their betting and casino services into the Irish market as well. Now, I want to dive into the letter here that talks about this merger. Dear Cashmere Group, doing business as Swiftly Global. While our initial goal was to complete this transaction by October 31st, we believe that extending the timeline will better position the company to proceed with the transaction. They chose to close this by December 31st. I haven't heard anything, haven't seen anything. So I'm presuming it's closed, but I haven't seen any validation on that yet. By combining Signing Day Sports recruitment platform with Swiftly's innovative software as a service-based gaming software, which it offers to online gaming operators under revenue sharing model and its discrete licensed operations in sports betting casino gaming. This transaction is intended to capitalize on substantial growth opportunities in both sports recruitment and online gaming. We are energized by Swifty's proven track record and the expertise they offer, and we are confident that together we can create a powerful, scalable organization posed for sustainable growth. If consummated, now this was back in November, if consummated, this would result in the acquisition of between 95 and 99% of the company. SGN would own 95 to 99% of this company. Okay. A further description of the term sheet is contained in their current form 8K. That is right. Do I have it? No, I didn't bring it up because I saw the information. But you can go to September 19th. It is the filing here, not for DRCR. You got to go to SGN to get that. You don't have filings on the pinks. You got to go over to SGN to get that filing on September 19th. It's an 8K. You can read all the information about this. Now, I really dove into this to see what the share exchange was going to be. I want to know what company should I buy? Before the merger, should I buy this cheaper company? Am I going to get shares of SGN? Yes. How many shares? I don't know. Should I buy shares of SGN? Am I going to get anything extra when they bring on DRCR? I don't know. I could not truly figure it out, but there is a change of control. It looks like SGN is becoming sole control agent of this company, though they don't make a whole lot of money. They only made $300,000, but they're on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, this is an interesting company. Signing Day Sports is a technology company engaged in developing and operating platforms to give student athletes the opportunity to go to a college and continue playing sports. The company offers Signing Day Sports, a sports recruitment platform that helps athletes get discovered and recruited by coaches and recruiters across the country. So they are involved with sports, but how this merges into that, I really don't know. But we've got a merger going on here. It looks like it's already closed or it's about ready to close. So let's take a look at the relative volume for SGN. She jumped from 145,000 shares on the major exchange. That's under the radar. She jumped to 683,000 shares. Well, that's better, but that's definitely under the radar. Share structure for SGN. They just had a reverse stock split, a 1-in-48, I believe it was, in September. So we are now down to 27 million shares. No clue what the insiders own. Don't know what the float is, except to say it's not going to be any higher than 27 million. Can't be more than the outstanding share count. And it could be considerably less if the insiders own a lot of shares. Market cap for the company currently is 70 million. Price of the stock is at 253, and she was up about 5.5%. Taking a look at the financials, as you can see, she doesn't have a lot of money coming in. It's steady, but there's not much there. Her balance sheet, she's got 1,000 in the bank, 1 million in assets, 2.6 million in liabilities. So we're holding 1.5 million in stockholder deficit with this company. DRCR, her relative volume, it jumped, it doubled. She's on the OTC. We don't expect a lot of volume down here, but that's still under the radar. 170 to 350,000 shares. Share structure for DRCR. She's got about twice as many as SGN. She's at about 54 million. Insiders have about 24 million of them. So we get the rest, about 30 million, which isn't a bad share float, share count on the float. Anything under 100 million is good. Market cap, really low on this company, 4.6 million. Financials, you saw, she's making good money, jumping very, very fast. Quarterly, she had I don't know what's going on there. She is jumping around. She is just between 25 and 30 million every 3 months. So it's like she's doing roughly $10 million a month. Balance sheet for this company, about 2 million in the bank, 8 million in assets, and only 1.8 million in liabilities, and they're debt free. We did read that. And we got stockholder equity over here of 6.1 million. I don't know yet. I would still want to do some more diving around, but I guess I would be more inclined probably to buy shares of DRCR at 8 cents, and they're going to convert those shares, and I don't know how they're going to be converted. That is my biggest question, but I would rather be given shares of SGN buying down here than buying up there, but I may be wrong here, folks. I may have that completely backwards. All right, so let's take a real quick look now at DRCR and what was the other one? SGN. That's right. Thank you. Appreciate that, Sam. So DRCR, looking at, let's take a quick glance at a yearly chart. We were down to 3.5 cents a full year ago, got up to 30 cents. So you're looking at roughly 900% run there. She's come back down. She is underneath the 200. 200 is still on an uptrend, but it looks like it's trying to roll over right now. All of our oscillators are weak on the yearly chart. Looking at our 4-hour, she's got a lot of volatility. She's bouncing here from 11 cents to 30 cents, down to 7 cents, back up to 23 cents. So we've got a lot of volatility, but right now she is being pushed down hard. And this isn't just the last 2 days. She's been falling for like the last 2 weeks. Oscillators on the 4-hour chart are very weak. Everything is still falling. Got a problem here, folks. Let me fix this. I don't see my ADX. I don't know why this thing likes to disappear on me. There it goes. My ADX has more lines in it here. So I can see I've got a downtrend going to the top of my graph, which means that's a dominant trend on the board. No duh. And the yellow line tells me how strong that trend is. If it's down here at the bottom, it's weak, but if it's climbing up, it's getting stronger, which means my downtrend is getting stronger right now on this chart. Coming down to the 1-hour view, she's probably going to look even worse than that. She's underneath the 200. That was her last high at 16 cents. We're down here at under half of that at 7.5 cents. We do have a bounce back. Look at that. She was actually climbing on the day yesterday when everybody else was falling. She was going against the grain, which is nice to see. Looking at our 5-day, 15-minute. All right, there's our low bubble. She didn't bounce off of that immediately. She came back up, fell back down. Looks like she hit it a second time, and it was that second time she hit it, she's bounced. She has gotten on top of her 200 haul, which is just about ready to go flat. She's just underneath the 50. If she can get up on top of that 50 and that 200 continues to turn up, as soon as it turns up, she's going to be in a perfect atypical breakout. Price in the middle on the 50 with the 200 coming down, the 200 haul coming up, creating this pressure on the price. Normally you see the price pop up and get on top of the 200. So we're going to watch that for a bounce. And this news could have it doing that. Looking at SGN, going back 1 day, 1 year. Wow. She's been on a strong downtrend. A year ago, now we did just have a reverse stock split. Right? That's right. I do not see a purple bubble here, but I read that, so I do know that's happened. It was a 1 in 48, which means anything, not anything, everything on the chart has been multiplied by that ratio of 48. So this high bubble of $49.92, divide by 48, it's going to be just a smidge over $1. That's the high on January 10th. So All the prices were wrong except from the day of the reverse stock split forward. You can count on those prices being accurate. But the chart itself is correct. Nothing on the chart changes, just the numbers. So whatever the number was back here, $1 something, she's been in a downtrend. And currently, from that dollar, we are now at $2.25. That's what the reverse stock split said. But that is the current price right now. That's our 52-week low of $2.25. We had a huge rip here. That might be the reverse stock split, but they don't normally put that green bar in there anymore. From $5 to $37. No. If it was $5 times 48, that price would have been, way the heck up there. So I'm not sure what caused this jump. This was September 20th. That is a huge rip, folks, from $5.50 to $37. Wow. That's like 700% run. And she crashed hard and fast down to this low. Let's come on all the way down now to the 1 hour view. Strictly a downtrend all this time. We had another rip here. We got a high of $4.37, and she ripped the other direction just as hard. Looks like she hit this low. She sure did. $2.25 was the low here, and we hit it again here. And then she bounced again here. So it looks like we know where the floor is. $2.25 looks to be the floor. So when she finally hits this floor and starts to bounce up, that would be your entry. We don't ever buy when she's a red bar. Red means she's falling. That's a verb. Falling, still going. You buy in on a red, it could easily just keep going. Don't worry about getting the cheapest price. The cheapest price isn't the best price because it isn't the safest price. You want the safest price, wait till you got a couple green bars showing steps going up. Then get in. If she's going to keep climbing, you're going to make gains. Don't you worry about that none. All of our oscillators, they're pretty pensive right now. Everything is flat. PPO, the only thing that's not flat is my ADX, but that's not about up or down. That is about trend. This says whatever trend is on the board has been continuing for a while because it's a straight line. Yeah, she's been going sideways pretty much, and everything is going sideways. So we've got a catalyst. Both stocks are pretty dormant right now, not a lot of activity, so we could be catching this at the right time. There's your heads up. Okie dokie. Let me pop in over here just so I can calm down a bit. I got my coffee, good for me. I got my nicotine. I got my other vape. And if we get desperate, we can always fall back on flour. Yes, I'm a user. I've been using since I was 17. Now that it's legal, I don't even have to worry about hiding it anymore. Let's see here. Who's joined us? The Penny Stalker channel. Nice to have a name I recognize on Twitter. Good to have you here, buddy. Appreciate you being here. I can't pronounce that name, but I'm glad you're here, Jenna. I can say that part of it. Yes, thank you. VV Life, appreciate you being here. Nido, we were playing Nido the other day. Passage. Yeah, we were playing Passage. I'm over at Penny Boys every day, folks. If you want to trade with the wizard, come on over to Penny Boys. There's a link down below in the description. It takes you to Discord. If you haven't got an account, don't worry about it. Just give them an email, choose the username and a password, and voila, you got yourself an account. And they'll automatically send you to us. Look at the left-hand side. You'll see a menu. Scroll through it. Find free member page. Click it. We're in there trading. From bell to bell, we're looking for hot stocks running right now, trying to take gains out of the middle. We don't care if we miss the beginning. We don't care how high it's going to go. We're going to take that slice in the middle. That's called a probable move. We're scalping in there every day, and I would love to have you in there. And that's where a lot of these stocks you guys are bringing up, I see. NCI, I haven't seen that one yet, but I do watch the TV show. Been watching that for years. Butch, I like that name. Butch Bubek. Knack. We're not going to get the knack. Anybody have the knack for knack? Show Squirrel. Man, you guys got some awesome names here. All right, folks, let's jump back on in there. Everything looking good here? Yes. BHAT. Yeah, I would love to get the B hat. All righty. There you go. So now we're going to take a look at stocks you have brought to me. This first stock we're taking a look at comes to me from one of my most loyal followers. Belmore brought this to me. Belmore's been with me as long as my beard. I swear to God, she's a part of me. I appreciate Belmore very, very much. So let's see what we got here. That was my stuff. Right. SVMH did a merger with Moviv Acquisition Corp a couple years ago, 23, 22, something like that. It's done. They've closed that deal. The company has a corporate office here in Delaware, the United States, but their operations are over in India. We've got some questions here that I'm going to bring up here about their minimum price and their financial filings. This is SVMH, Saravru Holdings Limited. Finished today just under 6 cents, down a lot, almost 30%. This is a cold penny stock on the NASDAQ where you don't have to pay for any of your transactions. They're all free up here. The OTC, you normally got to pay to get in and get out. You can trade pre-market, aftermarket. Some of the biggest runs you're ever going to see happen pre-market, aftermarket because there's no halts. Not for volatility. They can halt for news, but not volatility. So you can see some big runs there. You can't trade OTC pre-market. There's a lot more money and volume on the major exchange. You want to play in the game. That's where you really want to be. And there's a lot more rules up there, which I have learned the hard way is better for us and the company. It just keeps our investments safer, keeps the companies honest. Now, they tell us that this is a shell company. Shell company means they're not in business yet. They haven't got anything being sold. They're not generating any revenues. They're safe. That's not a bad thing. It's a yellow warning. If it was a shell risk, that means they're in business, but they're not generating any revenues. That's a problem. And this is accurate. The company is not making any revenues right now, but they're right at the cusp right now. That's the big deal for this company. So what did I learn about this company? Well, this is what they sell: electric motorcycles. They've got a factory over in India. They've got some distributors now. They've got a couple different sizes, different batteries. I don't know a lot about them, but I'll let you jump into that information. But the Prana 2 is their primary product. Looking at the news, back here in October, they told us they were ready to start making money. The company begins the Prana 2 vehicle deliveries and revenue generation. They got nothing on the books right now. The company announces their expansion into the Indian state of Kerala. That was October 23rd. That is a leading state in the EV adoption, with innovative joint dealership for the Prana 2 electric motorcycle in Thiruvananthapuram. I'm glad I don't have to write that return address. Then they had a upsized closing of a public offering. Public offering is when they put more shares on the market, makes them a lot of money, takes money away from us. That is dilution. When you put more shares on the market, it makes our shares worth less. Our pieces of pie get smaller. I'm not quite sure how many it was. You'll have to check into that. And the last piece of news, the company completes its interim audit and advances plan to comply with NASDAQ listing standards. Now, when I was reading this information, I do want to talk about that. They said that they had a problem with their stockholder equity, not their market cap, their stockholder equity, and that they had done their interim audit and fixed it. And they were going to be able to continue their listing on the NASDAQ market. Well, I'm going to come back to this here in a minute, but I don't get it. I don't get this. Here's their financials. They've got nothing on the annual. They got nothing on the quarterly. You come over to their balance sheet. They've got $250,000 in the bank, $61 million in assets, $64 million in liabilities. That is negative stockholder equity. Are they allowed to have negative stockholder equity? I mean, most of the companies I've seen this before needed 35 million or 15 million positive numbers. I've never seen a negative number. So we've got a negative number here, yet they say things are cool. Okay. The next thing that concerns me, we're on the NASDAQ at a price of 6 cents. Can't be on the major exchange under $1 for too long. You do, you get warned. They give you 6 months to get that price up over $1. We, the investors, have to bid it up over $1 for 10 consecutive days. It can come under $1 during those days, but has to close over $1. Once we do that, they're out of hot water. Well, what bothers me is when I come over here to disclosures to get my answers, what we've got is an SG13G. All right, I was reading this. This is good news. This is a new investor coming into the company and buying up some shares. Well, these are amended. There's an A at the end. It means it's been changed. Something's been changed. They changed it once, twice, thrice. Where's the original one? Way back here, 2023, 12. So we're talking a long time ago. This was an investment to buy 60% of Mobis, the original company. So I don't know why the heck they went and put these here now. Now, do you see anything else here? No, there are no other filings. Nothing from NASDAQ, no warnings about their price. I don't see anything there. But what's really missing are the financials. The only financial I see is November of 2023. Where is anything for 2024? I'm worried here. I don't see anything warning us about their price. I don't see anything here about what they just said about, I see the news, but I don't see any filings. So I've got a lot of questions right now about how deep in hot water this company is. And I need to have those questions answered. And I have not answered them yet. So what was the relative volume around this company? It was up. She went up from 138 million up to 152 million, but that was selling volume. So let's not get too excited about that. Share structure for the company. We've only got 10.5 million shares in it. That's great. I'm sure the insiders are going to own something. So we've got a legitimate low float. Anything under 10 million is outstanding. So when they start selling 150 million shares to the upside, you can see some fast movement. But you can also see fast movement down, because if there's only 10 million shares and they're selling 150 million in a day, they've got to sell all 10 million 15 times in one day. And you know, not everybody is selling their shares. Some people are holding them. So there becomes a lack of shares. That becomes supply and demand. It can look like a short squeeze. You can get some strong runs out of that. Financials, as I said, the company isn't making any money, and we've already covered their disclosures. So let's just dive on into the chart for this SVMH. Yeah. All right, let's close that one. Finally, just one window. Okie dokie. We are looking at a 1 hour chart, but I want a yearly chart. All right, lots of lines on the chart. You know what those lines are, right? Those are my supports and resistances, whether I get them by drawing them. Those are the yellow ones. I draw these wherever the price hits its head and falls, or wherever it comes down and hits its butt and jumps. That's where I put supports and resistances. There's speed bumps. And this is where I put in my sales and my purchases. Over top of one of these is where I get in, and underneath one of those is where I get out. And that's how we scalp. So that's what all these lines are. The white ones I get from my Fibonacci. When you have a big drop on the board and there's no place to get your supports and resistances, I use the magic numbers of Fibonacci, the magnetic numbers that draw things in Mother Nature and in finances. I don't know how it works. Nobody does, but I do like to use them. So jumping back, you can see from our chart, she has been in a general downtrend. It hasn't been super strong, but she has been in a downtrend. She had a big drop right here. We had a high of 46 cents, but that's not a legitimate high. I would call a high here somewhere around 34 cents. That's where she's come to quite a few times. This was short-lived. She came back down to a 52-week low of just under 2 cents, and she did that just at the beginning of November, just after that big fall right there. And I don't know why that fall came. That was on the last day of October. Let's come on down to the 6-month, 4-hour view. We had a nice jump there. For whatever reason, she went from 15 cents to 46 cents. That's a 300% run there. She came back down, and a couple of days later, she had another jump from 20 cents up to 36 cents. That's a 160% run. As you can see, she's got lots of big bounces here because she's got a small float. That's what you get. Quick ups, quick downs. We haven't had a whole lot of big jumps lately, but when you get down to these prices, would you believe these little jumps can be just as big as these big jumps? You don't need as much height. This one right here went from 2 cents up to 7 cents. Ha! That is a 350% jump right there. Even though it's not as big, it's a little itty bitty bar. You can see down at lower prices, the gains are bigger. And we're getting those big bounces down there. Now, she was down here for a while, had that big jump, came back down, and then she just started going sideways. Another big bounce, sideways, lots of big bounces. Folks, I like this just for the bounces. I mean, she does them often enough that it's not even a long hold, no matter how long you hold it. She's bouncing all the time. So I'm digging that about this stock, regardless if she's going sideways, up, or down, right? Everywhere we've looked, she has bounces, nice ones. Right now, she is on an uptrend, bouncing uphill. We got a lot of activity there. And what the heck is that? You see these lines? For some reason, I didn't mean to do that. I have set up for my Fibonacci MAs, my 5, my 8, and my 13. I don't know why that came up. ADX complete. That's the one I want. I don't want my... There we go. Yeah, I want my 50, my 200 haul, my 20. You can use the 5, 8, and the 15 for scalping. As soon as they cross, as soon as those lines cross, because they're so close, the price moves. So if you're dealing with crossovers, the 5, 8, 15 MAs are really fast and don't play around at all. All right, so that's our 4 hour. Let's take a look at our 1 hour. Lots of flat activity when she came out of the flat zone. Let's get rid of these lines. I'll bring them back if somebody reminds me. That's the biggest problem here. All I got to do is hit Control Z and they come back. So out of the flat zone, we had that big jump there from 3 cents to 7 cents. That's 250% gain. Started to run here, and I'm not going to measure them, folks. You see what we've got. Each one of these gains is at least over 50%, probably closing in over 100%. She's fallen back down to the 50, which is where she's bouncing, and she's bouncing right now. 200 is climbing. All of our oscillators are coming up right now. Crossover on our PPO. We have a crossover on our, a beautiful crossover on our ADX. Green line over the red means that the uptrend is becoming dominant on the board, as if we couldn't see that. But this establishes it. It's going to be even more. Our MACD has got a crossover going right now. That's going to give us more strength. We're coming out of the red. Green bar should start coming into the picture. And our RSI has just hit the warm zone. We just hit 55. 5-day, 15-minute. We're on an uptrend, folks. Look at her bounce on that 200. It doesn't matter if she comes under it. If she's playing monkey, if she's a magnet, hanging on to that 200 underneath, that's as good as being on top, as long as she doesn't start pulling away. A lot of times when she comes under the 200, it's a crouch. It is just bending their knees to get a little more push so that they can jump higher. And that's what it kind of looks like we had here. Come under the 200, push. Come under the 200, push. So I wouldn't let that bother me. Nice run here. Drop underneath the 200 with just the wick, not the solid bar, not to be concerned with it. Big bar bouncing on it, wick underneath, not to be concerned with it. Riding it, looks like she's breaking her 200 haul with all of our MAs coming up, all of our oscillators coming up. That's a hot chart. When every single line is pointed up, you've got a hot chart. All we need to make this a hot chart that's ready to run is volume. Bring that volume in, and this chart is ready to go, folks. So this is looking good. They're coming into revenues. The chart is setting up. It was actually starting to run after market. And look, yesterday when everything was being pushed down, this company said, to hell with that. Here was that 10 o'clock drop. It hit that 200 and said, no. And I like that. I like a stock that's got backbone to it. Technicals say this is a stock that's ready to go. Put this one on your watch list for tomorrow, folks. All right, I'm going to just slide right on into the next stock here. Let's jump on into UMAV. My voice is going. Sorry about that. All right, UMAV. This was brought to me by, you can see my notes, MBS. He wanted to talk about AITX, He let me choose. I chose one I haven't heard of before. I like that. The more you know, the more you grow. So some of the headlines I found with this company, I put these headlines there not really for you, but for me, so I don't forget to talk about them. I can overlook a lot. They have gotten an airport in Florida. It's been approved. They have a hangar they are building for what they build, a very big hangar. That has been approved. They have received all their licenses that they need, including for manufacturing for what they build. They have just entered a JV, a joint venture with an AI drone company. You brought up buybacks because of the share removals. We'll talk about that. So UMAV, this is UAV Corporation, company out of Florida. She finished today at just a little over 2 cents and was up 75% today, which means she went up less than a penny. Yeah, right, folks? Less than a penny, and she was up 75% today. This is what makes these pinks so enticing. That's why I like to put out warnings. You want to trade them? Fine. Get in, get out, take your gains. Don't get greedy waiting for more to be given you. Take what's given. Come back later for more. It's like a casino. As soon as you win, leave. Leave. Go outside. Go down the street. Come back in 30 minutes. I don't care if you come back. Just leave right now. That's what you got to do with these pinks. Company hasn't got any validated information being a pink. That's the problem with them, except these 2 green ticks. And this is the only site I know that gives us to them. This is the OTCmarkets.com website, which is a business. They are on the OTC. You can invest in them if you want. This is their business, what you're looking at right here. And part of that is to do background checks on these companies. And they have given this company a verified profile and a verified transfer agent, both of which are very important, but we're not going to go into right now. And that's the only validated information you get with the pink. So I always say at least have those 2 there in case you get stuck holding the bag. You want to have something to fall back on. Yeah, they give you financials, but they're not audited. It's just like a tally the management gives you. So not even that really helps. So what is this company about? Okay, they've got an interesting product here. It's best if I just show you. I could read, but I'm just going to show you. Where did it go? There you go. It looks like a blimp, right? It looks like a blimp. Let me see what they call this. I've got a Skyborne Technology is an emerging leader in the development and production of drone, helium-filled, lighter-than-air, tether airships for advertising, military, communications, and other applications, whatever you can come up with. Now, it's strange. I was watching some really old black and white movies from the early of last century. They had these things, these blimps in the sky. I mean, they were common practice. They were everywhere. And now we don't use it anymore ever since the Hindenburg, right? No, nobody wants to get on one of those again. Now, I don't believe these are for passengers or moving people. I do believe it's all drone controlled, so we don't have to worry about any of that. So this is their primary product for this company. But this company has made a deal with another company. Hold on, I got a lot here. Let's just back up into the news. We'll work right on into that merger. First off, the company, as I said, has received their licenses for that big thing that we were just looking at, as well as manufacturing it. So they can fly it and they can build it. Got to have them. Then they reduced their share count. This is what you were saying with buybacks. They didn't do any buybacks. Buybacks are when they actually remove shares off the market from the outstanding share count. And that gives us more value. The more shares they eliminate, the bigger our pieces of pie get. That's not where they came from, not the outstanding or the float. They came from the authorized share count, which is their bank. That's where they get to keep all the grain, all the shares they have, however many they have, and that's what they can put out on the market until they run out of them. Or they can use them as currency to make deals with other people, or stock incentives to lure in new management and stuff like that. So they've been removing the authorized shares, and they removed 1.2 billion, 1.5 total at this point. I think they're like 1.7 2 billion, somewhere in there, they've removed them. Now, that really doesn't affect shareholder value whatsoever. What it does is it reassures us a little bit. Those are shares they can put on the market. It's like a country having a whole bunch of nuclear bombs that they haven't used. Well, just holding them is a bit of a threat. So just having that many shares is scary. So we like to see that number get smaller and smaller. It just limits the threat of how many they can put on the market. Outside of that, I really don't see any catalyst going on for this company. Do I have anything else? Yeah. All right. This is the one merger. Catalyst. We do have a catalyst. Skyborne Technologies, a UAV corporation company, and Atlantic Industrial Group announces AI manufacturing joint venture for VTOL and lighter than air vehicles. VTOL, vertical takeoff and lift. Now they tell us here AIG will produce high efficiency drone models at Skyborne's facility, leveraging innovative manufacturing techniques like large scale 3D printing for airframe parts, wing structures, and cockpits. Now, this drone company, I looked in on them. They do a lot of work. It looks like they have a lot of IP. They've got a lot of different designs for airplanes that you've just never seen before that are all electric. And they want to get these onto the market. Well, they've got an airport now that they can test all of this stuff. And by doing this deal with this company, Skyborne owns the airport. Skyborne has licenses to do all the testings and the flying. So they're all set up. So this company now can start doing what they do best. And they want to take their technology and merge it into that big blimpy thing that they've got. Costin Airport Operations. That's the name of the airport, Costin. Both companies will utilize Skyborne's Costin Airport for flight operations, supported by new infrastructure, an airport road, water and sewer, and power, which was funded by federal and state grants. How about that? A future hangar facility will house completed aircraft and airships. Well, you saw how big that airship is. So this is going to be a huge facility, not just wide, but tall, really tall. There's a lot more news here, folks. Let's see here. We've got a few pictures here of some of their planes and the airport, their runways. So they've got a lot of different technologies that they want to bring forth. They've gotten their FAA approvals. They've got an airport. I mean, the company really looks lined up to get things running. Looking at the relative volume for the company. Wow. Considering how down yesterday was, that's pretty hot. She's up 75% and her volume kicked up, let's call it 500%, going from 1.4 million to over 7 million shares yesterday. On the OTC, oh, I can't get a number because we didn't have any shares today, so I can't tell you what it was. Share structure. It's okay. We won't complain about it. Outstanding share count, 117 million. Insiders own a nice chunk of that, 40 million. Which leaves us with about 77 million shares, which isn't bad. Not bad. I'm not going to cry about it. Anything under 100 million is okay, especially when you see some of these banks have billions of shares in the float. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Our authorized share count is now down to 2 billion. So I'm presuming it was close to 4 billion shares before, so they virtually cut it in half. So that's half the threat removed. Financials for the company. I'm betting they ain't making any money. Nope, we got no money on the annual, and we got no money on the quarterly. You got any money in the bank? No, I don't like that. How are they paying themselves? Really, how's management paying themselves? How's any employee getting paid right now? Total assets, they've got about $1 million. That's probably for the land. Once you put water and power on it, darn near double the property's value right there. So I'm sure that is their biggest asset. Liabilities, oh God, 4.7 million in liabilities. So we are carrying 3.7 million in deficit, me and you. So if you take all the shares and you divide it into that number, that should give you an asset valued price for what the stock should be. It would be a negative number. Anytime you take a positive and a negative number and multiply them, you get a negative number. So that's a real good price right now. So looking at her from that standpoint, we are at an unvalued point. It's hard for me to put a value on a stock when she's in deficit, but we have a company that sees value in the company. We have gotten all of our license. We have technologies that we've not seen before that they're going to be put into use. Now, I have seen a couple other companies out there using this sort of blimpy sort of thing, but nobody's really jumped the gun yet with any big deals. I don't know what sort of real practical use that consumers can get advantage from. I mean, you couldn't put a bomb on it for the military. You could shoot it out of the sky pretty easy. You can't be a spy vessel with it. You can see it pretty easy. So I'm not real sure what convenience consumers can get from it, but it is a new business. Though the drones themselves, those could have all sorts of applications, all the different types of planes that they've got. So if you really want to do some due diligence, probably looking into this new AI drone company would be where I'd want to look. Taking a look at the disclosures, I think I've already gone through these, but let's see. Yeah, that's why there's nothing here since 2022. And then I've gone through these supplemental informations, and there really wasn't anything there that I thought worthy of sharing with you. I'm just going to refresh myself. No, nothing I thought you needed to know. All right, let's go take a look now at ticker UMAV on the charts. What time is it? 5 o'clock, and I still got a voice. Not much, but I still got a voice. All right. It doesn't look bad. Most of the charts we look at are in serious downtrends. For the most part, this has been sideways. She's had a little bit of dips, but not much. Matter of fact, we have had a change of trend on our yearly chart. There's our 200. Our 200 went flat right in this zone. Still flat here where she makes a breakout attempt. And with that breakout attempt, she actually pulled all the MAs up. And now our 200 is actually climbing with everything else. So she has actually changed her trend right now. These jumps are going from about 0.007 up to a penny. You're looking at 50% jump there. And here you're going from 0.005 up to over 2 cents. That's a 400% jump there. So right now, folks, we are in a zone where the profits can be ridiculous. I mean, seriously, you can get a couple penny jump and you make hundreds of percent just on a little move like that. And this stock looks to be that sort of play. We have a fair amount of stock in our float, but obviously when she gets volume, and look, we've had a lot of volume here the last couple of months. This has been about 30 days. Our oscillators on our yearly chart are all pushing up, every single one of them. And we're about ready to go into the overbought on the yearly chart, which is pretty good. Let's come on down to our 6-month 4-hour view. Looks a lot like our yearly chart, just a little bit closer. We've got a low here of 0.001. That hit in October. We just had a high here on the 18th. That is at 2.6 cents. She came back down to the 200, bounced off of that beautifully immediately, and every bar is getting bigger as she's bouncing up the chart. Look at the volume getting very, very thick and strong. Oscillators, every single one of them looks great right now. And our ADX, the one I lean on the most, says my uptrend is getting stronger, and the yellow tells me how strong the uptrend really is. It's up there at 100%. This only goes from 0 to 100%. It's at max capacity right now, folks. Our MACD is climbing, big green bars. We have just entered the overbought. UMAV has got a very hot breakout chart right now, folks. 20-day, 1 hour. We had a nice bounce there, come down through our 50, brand new 200 MA. I have noticed, I look at a lot of charts, I have noticed that when a new MA comes onto the board, in most cases, you will see the price gravitate to that new MA. Doesn't matter if the price is below it or above it. It normally goes to the new MA, and it doesn't necessarily stay there, but it can. And that's what happened here. Soon as the 200 came into the picture, she came down to the 200. It's got more data. She paid her homage and respect to it, and now she's pushed off of it. Now we've got a 200 haul that just came into the picture. She has broken through that. It is now turning up with every single MA climbing, bars getting bigger, wicks pushing up, all of our oscillators, ADX hot. This is going on my watch list for tomorrow. Penny boys, we are going to be looking at UMAV tomorrow. This is looking really good, folks. Looking at our 5-day, 15-minute. Sweet. Nice, easy push across that 200. All of our MAs are evenly combed, nicely spaced. Our price is floating on the 9-day MA. This is paper thin, folks. It isn't needing anything stronger to hold it up. It is, yes, you got to expect bounce backs, folks. Don't freak out when you see a red bar. The thing is a kangaroo. It bounces up and down. And if it hits a high bubble, expect it to come back down. A high bubble means too high. Too high. It's too high above some MA. The kangaroo's got to come back down and hit it. So just expect that and read it. Learn to use that as part of your entry and exit plans. We do see we have a pullback on our strong uptrend here, but it is being measured by this line. Yes, it is getting weaker, but it's still in the game very, very strong. And where's our downtrend? Down on the floor. So this is looking great, folks. Definitely put UMAV on your watch list for tomorrow. Thank you. Who brought this to me? I want to say thank you again. MBS. You're the man, bringing us hot stocks on a day we weren't even trading. All right, let me jump on back here, say hello to somebody. Oh, did I leave that up? My bad. Get that up. Oh, ooh. Hey, this is one of my favorite guys. He pays me. No, you don't have to, but he does. They've got this thing on Google, shout outs, super stamps or something like that. I got it just in case any of you made big money one day, got rich off of something I showed you. Maybe you'd want to give me a couple grand, but hey, $1 here, $5 there. I love it. And folks, it really does show me respect. I used to be a waiter. You put a quarter on that table when you're done eating, when I worked hard for you, and I'm a damn good waiter. I clean your table and you don't even know it was cleaned. By the end of the meal, you go, where's all the dirt? I've been talking to you and pulling it off while I've been keeping you entertained. So I appreciate you, Mark, and I appreciate your money. And I'm going to use that to buy some entertainment. Thank you, friend. Let's see here. Me. What's up, Wizzy? What's it say? Something, Mark? I don't know who me is. It's not me. It's me. Always hustling. God, I got a lot of new names here. I'm glad to see you all here. Nate's still throwing up hot tickers there. T-Pet. We did play T-Pet on Penny Boys yesterday. I am absolutely sure it was yesterday. All right, it is 5:08. I've got time for another stock. Sure I do. Oh, I almost didn't hit my button. Hit it. There you go. I'm looking. I'm good. So let's get rid of this one. Let's get rid of this one. Actually, get rid of them so I have some more power. You wouldn't believe how many windows I've got open here. Get rid of that one. Get rid of UMAV. We did look at that one, right? Yes. We are going to look at another U company. This is USIO. Never heard of USIO. This came from somebody on my Penny Boys Discord group. He actually gave me 3 tickers. First, he wanted VRAR and SOUN. SOUN came up on our watch list in Penny Boys. Anything on our watch list in Penny Boys is a hot stock. That's all you need to know. We don't look at anything that ain't moving. And then he said, but I think USIO is worthy of looking at too. Well, I kind of took his afterthought as a regret. Oh, I wish I had said that first. So I'm going to cover USIO. This is a fintech company that deals with integrated payments of all sorts. We can't cover them all. Now, the one thing I found interesting in all the information I was looking at, and I wanted to see where their market was. Are you dealing with the whole world? Are you just in one country? Or are you just in America? Well, they did not specifically say. From what I gather, they're an American company dealing in America. That's the way it looks. They never say anything different about global or countries or anything like that. So I'm going to presume this is all USA oriented. So USIO, based out of Texas, finished today at $2.39. She dropped a little yesterday. Lucky her, just a little. 3.2%. She's a cold penny stock on the NASDAQ, coming with all those benefits I mentioned earlier. So she is a payments data systems company. She deals with integrated payment solutions. Now let's see if I can get you a little more information here. We're over at their website, USIO.com. USIO was voted top 25 payment technology companies in 2024. Now, I don't know who voted that. I guess that does matter. But when you think of how many fintech companies are out there, there's a ton of them, folks. That's why I really don't want to invest in fintech. There's just so freaking many of them. I wouldn't know which one would be the big winner in the long running game. So I'll play them, but to find one to get into for a long investment, I just don't know yet. So they've been voted top 25, which I'm sure they looked at a lot of them. The company offers integrated payment solutions for trusted lenders, software as a service providers, developers, nonprofit organizations, utilities, government agencies, card issuers, and more, with billions of transactions. Now, I was going through some of the things here to see what they do. If I could pick out something to share with you, one of the things that jumped out at me, they have prepaid cards. Now, prepaid cards you've heard of, but they do them for anything. Maybe you want to give them as Christmas gifts. Maybe you want them as per diem for your employees, and you put all the per diem on those cards. They don't just have to be credit cards. They can be used for all sorts of other things. They also have bills. They take care of billing, not only through the internet, but through paper. They do a lot of certification mail through paper mail. So they do a lot of other things as well, not just their integrated payments. They tell us over here that USIO is a leading fintech that operates a full stack of proprietary and integrated cloud-based electronic payment and embedded financial solutions to a wide range of merchants, billers, banks, service bureaus, and card issuers. USIO operates card and ACH payment processing, card issuing, and bill presentment and payment to deliver convenient, world-class solutions and services to other clients. Now, that's the first word I've seen for world class. I don't think they mean worldwide. I just think they're saying we're one of the best in the world, even though we only work in the United States. That's my impression here. Company's been around for 25 years doing this. I don't know what they've been doing through all that time. They've got a timeline here if you want to jump into it. Obviously, Fintech just came into the picture, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, maybe, something like that. PayPal was when it came into the picture. They were the initiators of fintech, but that's when it came up. So I'm sure they have history with all the paper stuff and then migrated into the e-commerce world, and they've just been growing with it. You got to appreciate a company that can change with the times. Got a couple more windows open here. What have we got? We got a lot of news here up at the top. This is dedicated to the company on the OTC market, but all of this news is old. It goes back 2015 and older. Down here is newer news, but it's not just the companies. It can be a lot of companies like them, including them. This looks like all of their news here. So a couple pieces of news that caught my attention, and I did because there was very little news here. There's not much really to look at. A lot of conferences, which are good. You go to these conferences, you talk to all these businesses, and you tell them, this is what we can do for you. That's how you get new customers. You also go out there and talk to investors and get them excited, get some more investors into your company. They do a lot of that. I went to Yahoo, looked at the news to go back as far as I could. Every couple of months, they had a deal like this one here. USIO Inc., chosen by Class Wallet to process ACH payments and power digital payment disbursement programs. I wanted to know how many companies they were working for. Well, there's a lot of them. It's not listed. I was trying to get into their financials, and what I saw in their financials was they've got multiple revenue streams, but they don't break it down, into all that other stuff. But these are their revenue streams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. I'll let you read those. And this shows you how much money that they were making in each one of them. So they've got a lot of different products. They are all launched. They are all working. And obviously, this company knows how to improve their products and grow, coming from the days before the internet was even here, right up until now. So what was the relative volume around USIO? That's a nice jump. Up on the NASDAQ, she's been doing about 373,000 shares a day over the last 30 days. Under the radar. Boop, boop. Yesterday, she did 1.6 million, which is a nice jump. It's about 500% increase. Share structure for the company. Let's hope we're low. Yeah, that's great. Outstanding share count is 27 million. Could be a heck of a lot lower than that, depending on what the insiders own. Authorized share count, we got about 200 million. That's low. And we got 64 million in the market cap. Are they making any money? I don't know. Yes, I did read this. I was looking at their financials. This is a record-breaking year. I'm sure every year has been a record-breaking year. Look at the incredible growth this company has had. 32, 61, 69, 82 million dollars increasing year after year after year. And their profit is growing right along with them. Looking at the quarterlies, they're roughing it around $20 million every quarter, and they're pulling in just under $5 million profit every quarter. Balance sheet for the company. We got about $8.5 million in the bank, $115 million in assets, $95 million in liabilities. So on top of the strong revenues and profits, we've got stockholder equity of just about $19 million. Fundamentally, they look pretty good. I do believe I covered the disclosures, but I always like to take a second look. Right, bunch of Form 4s here. I always look at Form 4s because these are filed whenever the insiders acquire or dispose of the company's stock. I'm talking about the stock that you and I buy and sell. Well, they can get it and lose it in a lot of different ways, but buying and selling it is what they do sometimes. And I'm always looking for that because that can be a token sign, good or bad. So when you jump in here, they'll tell you who it is, who they are in the company, and then right there in the middle is a code. If it's a P, it's a purchase. If it's a S, it's a sale. That's what I'm interested in. Anything else is something else, and I'm normally really not interested. I will look to see what it is just so I can educate myself. Right down here, they'll give you a reason. These had to do with restricted stock, incentive stock, other things as that, but no purchases, no sales. They'll tell you how many they got, what price they paid, and how many they have after their transaction. So all of these Form 4s were something else, not a single sale, not a single purchase. Well, that's not true. There was one sale, but the sale was to pay for taxes. They pay their taxes by selling some of their shares. That's how they pay their taxes. Interesting. And then you got the most recent financial right there from November. You really want to do some research on a company. You're thinking about getting into it for a long hold. Forget about news presses or Google or anything like that. You want hard facts. Get into a financial, especially the 10K. This will give you every bit of information, every deal they've ever made, every investor, not me and you, the big investors. It's all in there from the day they incorporated. So you want to know about the company, get used to reading the 10Ks and 10Qs. They're all set up the same. So once you learn how to read one, you'll know where to go to get the information over and over. I know where to look for where the float is. I can go directly to it in just seconds and find what the float is on a company. Well, not the float, the outstanding share count. Most people want to know what that is, and you can't trust the numbers out here, but you can trust a filing. All right, that's what we got going for USIO. I do believe I covered everything, right? Okay. Let's go take a look at the chart for this company. USIO, UCO. Let's jump on back to our yearly chart. Wow. Well, it's been pretty steady what she's been doing. She's been underneath the 200 MA like a monkey every other now and then, putting her hand up there, just hanging on to it, floating there, sitting on her 200 haul. Gave more respect to the 200 haul. The 200 haul, folks, I like to think of as a friend to the price. The 200 MA is a stranger, doesn't care about the price at all. The 200 Hall does care. Why do I say that? Because it can relate to the price. The 200 Hall is figured out just like the 200 MA. Both take 200 days of prices and average them together. That gives you an average. But the 200 Hall takes current prices into consideration. It considers the price. Isn't that polite? And that gives a different line on the chart that is normally closer to the price. This line gets closer, like a relationship. And a lot of times when the 200 Hall is underneath the price, you can watch it hit the price and really give it a power boost. The 200 Hall is just as strong as the 200 MA. And if that is being used as a baseball bat against the price, you can imagine how far it can push it. And a lot of times it will push it. Wow, look, just like that. Let me back this up. I saw what I saw. Let me see if I can make this big, big, big. I'm trying, folks. Let me get back there. I saw a perfect breakout, and she did break out. All right, I need to get this close so you can see right there. She got up on top of the price. As soon as that turned blue, folks, do you see it? As soon as that 200 Hall turned blue, the baseball bat was swinging. That pushed the price hard over the 200, and oh my God, Babe Ruth is in town. This thing jumped from $1.48 to $2.92. That's 100% run. Look at those bars, folks. Look at the volume. Big, big jump. She has pulled back, but she has settled way the heck up there. All the oscillators are on fire. Even though they're pulling back, they're still very, very hot right now. Taking a look at our 6-month, 4-hour, it's pretty much just a little bit closer. Not a whole lot to glean from this. All of our oscillators are still on fire. Everything is still on top and hot. You like that? Looking at our 20-day, 1-hour. So we hit a low here. She came down, crouched, came up over that 50, pushed onto the 200, and just started to float. Look at this. She was on basically all of her MAs. Jumped onto the 9-day, said the heck with the 20-50. She's just leaving everybody. Floating on that 9-day. She came down and bounced. That's where she's bouncing. She's floating on the 9, bouncing on the 20. Boink, boink, boink. This is beautiful. She is still doing her pattern right now. All of our MAs are climbing. No big gaps in the price of the MAs. Looks great. Oscillators, PPO is starting to turn up. Our ADX has got the uptrend coming up. We're strong. Not as strong as it could get, but it's getting stronger. Crossover on our MACD, and our RSI is rising. This is another one I'm going to be watching tomorrow. Let's come down to our 5-day, 15-minute. It's sweet, folks. She is rolling uphill. This is a beautiful kangaroo bouncing up the hill like she's supposed to. Read your charts, folks. Now, I don't have any supports and resistances in here, but we need to get those on. If you're going to buy into a stock, I don't know how you trade without supports and resistances. They tell you where the stock is going to normally slow down and speed up. So this stock is looking real good, folks. Right now, we've got our 50 and our 20 turning up with the price climbing, floating on the 9, right under the 200, which is pushing up to 200 Hall. I think she's going to get on top of the 200 Hall and get pushed hard. I think we could see a nice jump here, just like it happened right there. Every time she gets above that 200 Hall, she likes to be pushed. All of our oscillators are climbing. ADX it's a little mixy right now, but it looks like it's about ready to go to an uptrend. I'm liking this stock. Looking pretty good, folks. Who brought me USIO? I wonder if he's watching right now. Jano, or is it Ijano? Tijano. Thank you, my friend, whatever your name may be. I do appreciate it. What time is it? 5:24. Ah, God. You know, I know you guys bring me all these stocks, and I left that up there. Sorry about that. Hope that didn't get in anybody's way. I'm trying. There we go. I don't know if I have time for anything more, folks. I've been trying to hold my voice together here. I appreciate you all being here. Missed. Here's another one from Jan Fay. I do recognize a lot of these stocks. I want you guys to do your homework. Seriously, when people bring a stock forward to you, you know how much work that saves you. And I liked MBS. He gave me 2 catalysts, share buybacks, and Amazon Walmart for AITX. That's a catalyst. Now, I am not aware of any catalyst with Walmart and Amazon and AITX. So there's something I'm going to have to do some research on. That sounds very curious to me. And AITX, I think, is a company we may want to watch, along with RBOT. I think that's another company to watch. I also want to give you this heads up, folks. I'm not going to have any time for any more stocks, but I do want to put one thing out there. I have been building up positions on warrants. Warrants are stocks that you can trade, get in and get out anytime you want, like any stock. But a warrant has a special feature. It's a coupon. It's a promissory note. If you want to hold on to your warrants, you can cash them in down the road, 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. What it does is it allows you to buy a share of stock at a guaranteed low price. Let's say you're looking at a company like FFIE. This is one of the companies I think is going to start to grow. Its warrant is really cheap. Now, warrants are penny stocks. The stock will be at $2. The warrant will be down at 8 cents, 6 cents. Most warrants, when a stock is healthy and the warrant's healthy, are at about 10%. So if the stock's $2, the warrant is normally 20 cents, 18 cents, somewhere in there. I see a lot of warrants are undervalued right now. Stock will be at $2 and the warrant is at 2 cents. I saw a stock the other day. We just looked at one. The stock was at 6 cents and the warrant's at 3 cents. That's unbelievable. But that's not going to grow. When you see a stock go from $2 to $4, the warrant will move. And it'll go from 2 cents to 10 cents to 30 cents. If that stock goes to $10, that warrant can go over $1. And if you bought in at 2 cents and you bought 50 shares or 5,000 shares, no, I bought 50,000 shares. I keep buying 1,000 shares each day with my profit. It's like $54, $60. So now I've got like 50,000 shares, which will get me $50 for every penny this warrant moves. When the stock starts moving, the warrant will move. I'm not in any big hurry. There's going to be a jump in the market when Trump comes. There's going to be a lot of robot companies that move. AI companies will probably start getting more attention. That quantum is out of the picture. I would start looking at companies that have warrants that are very cheap, that the price of the stock is at $2, $3, has had some jumps, getting some volatility. Those are the stocks you want to start buying warrants on. Now, what I've got to say to warn you about warrants. Warrants can move fast. You buy at 2 cents, the ask will be at 10 cents. And you're going, what? Ain't nobody going to pay that. Yes, they will. And you'll see it jump from 2 cents to 10 cents. And you just wet yourself. You're at 500% just like that. And you're going, oh my God. And you want to sell quick before it changes. Stop. Wait. Look at the ask. Look at the bid. They didn't change. Your bid is still 2 cents. It did not go to 10 cents. The first jump does not do that. You're going to have to wait for 2 or 3. So make sure you see a change there. Now, as that gap gets close and the volume starts coming in, that price starts to move quick. And when the stock goes up 10, 20%, the warrant can go up 200, 300%. A year and a half ago when SPACs were hot, when news came out, the stock would go up 10%. The warrant would go up 2,000% in one day. So if you want to hold on to warrants, you can make money like Warren Buffett, who gets rich off of warrants. This company, FFIE, could be worth $20 in 3 years. And they say I can buy a share at $1 anytime in the next 5 years. Well, it's not a good price right now, but in 3 years, it could be $20. And I could take my 50,000 warrants, give them $1 with each warrant, and I'm going to make all that profit back. They don't give you the shares. They just give you the money. So that is something I am doing. I am choosing my warrants. I'm doing a lot of homework right now, looking at stocks that have heat, that are ready to run, that are at the $2, $3 range, that could easily hit the $10 range, that could bring their 2, 3, 4 cent warrants up to 30, 40, 50 cents or more, giving us some spectacular gains. I'm not putting the house on it, but each day I add a little more. And I've decided to do that with 3 or 4 warrants, maybe more. All right, folks, I appreciate your time. I hope I've shared something with you. I hope this gave you something to do today. I was bored out of my mind doing a lot of homework, and I wanted to talk to somebody. Why not talk to my friends who like to talk about the same things I do? Thanks. I appreciate you being here. I will see you next week. I do have videos coming out every other day, something like that. But I'm over at Penny Boys every day, folks. So if you'd like to trade with me, if you'd like to talk with me, if you'd like to meet me, please come on over there. One warning before I hang up on you, don't trust the DMs, the private conversation in Discord. The background of Discord is connected to all the Discords, so we can communicate with all the Discords, and there's a lot of scammers back there. And I've become quite popular. I don't know how, but there are lots and lots and lots of people acting like me, talking to people, trying to get them to invest $1,000 into some AI program that can help you. Don't do it. Don't talk to anybody back there. I don't give invitations to be friends with anybody, just so you're never confused. So stay on the front page with me, the free members, and make money. That's what we're there to do anyways, right? I will see you later. Thank you, folks. Bye-bye. Why do I do that? Why do I do anything? You know, I'm going to have a talk with myself one day.